What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the map, Carpathian countryside, and welcome back to Farm Sim. Feels like it's been a while since we live streamed. I was going nearly the entire week last week, and I think the map released last Monday, which kept me live streaming the day before I left. But we're back from the farm show, and we got lots to talk about. Farm Sim related, farm show related, and related to the map, Carpathian countryside. I heard from Mr. Hector over the weekend that the map basically cleared PC testing. There was just a few minor things that Giants wanted to see changed, and I do believe with the last update, one that happened last week, there was a interesting development with respect to the map and some collisions, and Mr. Hector worked on those over the weekend and resubmitted the map. We do know that retesting is a lot faster than the initial test. So, barring anything drastic turning up on console testing, it's probably a pretty good bet that we will be seeing this map drop this week or next week. Again, depending on what they find with respect to console testing. For example, his greenhouse pack, which is included as a required mod in this map, did come back with some textures that needed to be modified for console. Since map authors really don't have a way to do any sort of console testing before submission, it's kind of hard to keep that from cropping up. So again, very possible we're going to see a release of this map this week or early next week. Now, I will just say that we don't have our typical background music running. This morning, I had some sort of fault on my storage array that has all of the background streaming music on it, and as such, I currently don't have access to that. Hopefully I'll have that resolved before the next live stream. At any rate, that's why we don't have any background music at the moment. For those aren't in the know, we did have a hotfix drop fairly recently with respect to Farm Sim. It dropped, I think, while I was away because I just had to update this install right before the live stream. 1.16, I believe we're at now, and we're still waiting to find out what the seeds that follow are, as far as a hint for the DLC. Hopefully we're going to have that information drop this week or next week, because quite honestly, the end of Q1 is coming up pretty darn quick. The end of Q1 is going to be the end of September. What? No, it's going to be the end of March. So we are like 6 weeks away from the end of Q1. And if we're going to have any sort of fact sheets, we're going to allow a couple weeks for the fact sheets. Unless there's not a lot of equipment in the pack. So then we could maybe have less fact sheet weeks mapped out. But I'd love to know what your all's thoughts are on seeds that follow. It's not fallow, it's follow. Because there's no A there. Ambien will do that, right? Maybe you can talk Flossie into coming out to Louisville next year. There's lots to do. You know, you can do the Bourbon Trail stuff before and after the show. Plenty of other stuff to do in that little old town. And I do have to tell you, I was a little surprised at the meetup. I rolled into the meetup, and I'm like, yeah, okay, let's eat dinner there. I showed up about an hour early so I could eat and, you know, not be rude in front of everyone that was showing up. And I was like, yeah, what's your where's your food menu? And they're like, that's handled by the food truck out front. I'm like, what? Yeah, we don't serve food here. It's all the food truck out front. Oh, okay. That's what I was thinking. Which is, you know, a bit different than what I'm used to. Because here in Virginia, if you're going to serve alcohol, you got to serve food. It's a requirement. You can't just have a bar that only serves booze. You got to serve food. And you have to have a certain percentage of your monthly take as food sales. Not so much in Kentucky. You can operate a business and just sell booze. No food needed. So, yeah. For next year, I'm definitely going to research the place and know, do we have food as an option? Might be a good idea. That 1150 was nice. I mean, it was mint, and it only had a few thousand hours on it. Same with that International. They had a 2022 like John Deere 6R or something there also, but who wanted to see that? I mean, it was the first place I'd been to in Louisville that didn't serve food. In the 4 years now going there, every place I showed up to, you know, served food. The first year I found this really nice place right outside the show called the Craft House. A little microbrewery. It's not a big place. I didn't really plan on the meetup to be there. But it's, you know, got small seating. Microbreweries, right? So they got their craft beers there. They sell some other stuff there, and they had food, and they had some pretty darn good food. They did, yeah, they did. They had lots of their own. Well, I think everything on tap was their own. The Turn 3 Brewing. It was an old converted church. It was kind of an interesting location. You don't have too many bars with stained glass windows. I think the gist is, like, a couple doors down there was a diner. Like, the idea is you go to the diner, you eat, and then you go over to the bar and you have your, you know, your hang out with your friends and drink. I sent Giants the link to the videos and said, here, this is what I want in the game. Here's 4 hours of stuff I want to see in the game. Have at it. It was nice, though, to stay at a place that had fiber internet. So I was able to upload the 4K renders pretty quick. what I tell them every year, Tookie. Every year I tell them that it would be well worth the time to attend and attend it on different fronts. One, you can have your marketing folks, your events folks, basically have your presence with some kiosks set up, show the game off, you know, give stuff out. And then you got your wheeling and dealing folks to go around and talk to these American brands or talk to these American dealers about these brands, you know, to get some chatting it up about maybe some US licensing as opposed to just always having the European stuff. I really would love to see that Bale Baron. That's the little square baler accumulator stacker. It's like the Arcusin, but very different. And there's lots of drones. I mean, drones are big. Drones seem to be big in agriculture now. Day 4, it was basically how many drone booths can we count? I think we got over 10. And these drones are huge. You know, they're not the little DJI. DJI drones are there, but they're big. What's up, Delilah and Easton? How's it going? Well, I will be putting out next weekend the supercut. So all 4 videos slammed together in one 4-hour and 20-minute watch. In lovely 4K. Throw it up on your 4K TV. Sit back and enjoy an entire evening. I mean, it's like, it's watch that or watch the first installment of the Lord of the Rings series. It's probably about the same duration. If you are into pulling, tractor pulling, we do tour the pits once again in day 4. I've got timestamps on that video if you want to jump straight to that, or if you want to skip it, I've got timestamps as to basically when it starts and when it ends. We didn't go to the tractor pull this year. And I mentioned in the video, and I'll go ahead and mention it here, that unofficially Kermit was at the farm show last year. He was hanging out with a pulling crew. I didn't mention anything about it because, well, he wasn't there in any sort of official stance. But he was palling around with a pulling crew, and honestly, I was kind of hoping that what would come out of that would be some sort of sponsorship of that pull truck or tractor. I don't know if it was a truck or tractor this year. But, well, as we know, all that seems to have fallen through with the shuttering of the Chicago office, laying off of all the North American Giants staff, all 2 of them. At any rate, and them now hiring a marketing firm to do their North American events. Which the first event is going to be PAX East. I do have plans to be there. And that's going to be toward the end of March. So I was kind of hoping that Giants would have a sponsorship of a pulling truck or tractor this year. It's kind of holding out that there would be some sort of partner event at the farm show this year. Nope. And honestly, I had a little bit of a thought when Giants started talking about having these meetups that there would be some sort of maybe official meetup where, if possibly, Giants would have a hospitality booth during one night or multiple nights of the poll. That would be a great way of hanging out with partners and fans. But no, it didn't turn out. I mean, yeah, pulling DLC would be rather interesting. I did hear, though, that they are retrofitting the seats in the stadium this year. So next year there's going to be less seats, bigger seats, thank goodness, because you kind of had to pry yourself into them. But there'll be less seats next year. And it sounds like there's kind of a waiting list for seats, and I suspect there's also a waiting list for booze, let alone what that might cost to rent or book. But the bull night is a big draw. And I think it would be a cool way of doing a meetup, right? Come to the show, and hang out with Giants or hang out with some partners at the tractor pull. Well, Delilah, that's where maybe there maybe could be some tie-in or some leverage with the Project Motor Racing deal. So we're gonna need the. I'm gonna get a sunflower header for our sunflower harvest. We're gonna have to go forward into November for that. Let's go ahead and take a look here at the shop. Specialty headers. Yeah, let's get the Gearinghoff sunflower header. Kloss green. And we'll need the matching header trailer. I would run down there with the truck, but of course, I won't have a way of getting the header on the trailer. Now, Tookie, you'll have to come out to the show next year. All of you guys have to come out to the show next year. We'll do another meetup, barnyard meetup. Hang out every night. What's up, Craig Cassidy? How's it going in Australia? Starting to cool down yet? Well, it's not really starting to warm up here quite yet either. Although I do have to say, what? Did I not buy this? I guess I did. Well, I don't know why they wouldn't go, but again, now, right, it's not in their back door or backyard. And I don't think it was on the list, which is a little disappointing. It was 70 degrees on my way to Kentucky. Last week was, I think, the first week we really had temps above freezing since we had the big ice storm come through a couple weeks ago. I had gone, washed the car, and then the next day it reaches 70, and well, there's road melt all over the place. Car's a caked salt mess again. Raznak wants a pickle DLC. Alright, let's get this thing over here. Stage it. Get this in our silo. Off we go. Right now our yard is a muddy mess. All the snow and ice melt. Mud season is officially here, and I think overall probably the super cold temps are on their way out. Now, as far as this map and its release, you'll know when this map drops because I've already got the map video in the can, just sitting around waiting on the map to release. I recorded it well before I went on the farm show trip, just in case it released the week of the farm show. All right. What's roadside research? Oh yes, the highest rated map. That was quite the live stream. I watched it after the fact. Is it like, is it like that game? What What was that alien game where you come and invade Earth? It's not Attack of the Aliens, is it? What is it? Oh, I don't have Steam up to look it up. Yeah, that's it. Destroy all humans. It's not like that one, is it? What's up, Genetic J? Glad you got your account back in normal order. Well, hopefully no one fell victim to it, but someone else in the Discord had the same one and spammed some messages this morning, but I cleared it up, I think, pretty quick. Alright, let's unload this, get our pig food making started, so we can purchase some porkers. Well, the winds is probably what you definitely don't want. $156%. I mean, it's a forever thing. And it's just, you know, gotta stay one step ahead. Oh, it was 156. All right, and activate. Oh, it is running. Okay. Very soon. It could be this week. Could be tomorrow, Wednesday. It's basically cleared PC testing and just needs to go through console testing. There's always a potential something might come up in console testing related to textures. And at that point, it'll be out for all. So no need to boot up the game and check the mod hub. All you need to do is be a subscriber to the channel and turn on notifications, because when the map does release, I've got the map video. It will drop soon after I realize that the map is out, and you see a map guide video drop, then you'll know the map is out in public. And I appreciate that very much. I thought I was going to have to do one Friday. But then I realized that it was an all platforms release of one that had already been out for PC. Which is good, because it meant I didn't really have to bother too much with my on-the-road setup to record. Putting videos together, editing them, that's not that big of a deal on the road. But trying to capture gameplay and everything, that's a little bit more. No, the silo this is very much of an industrial complex type farm, whereas this Hoff-Bergman's very rural and small, I would say. This map's going to cater to the folks that want big gameplay a lot better than, let's say, Hofbergman. But speaking of Hofbergman, Farmer Andy recently released his miniature agricultural pack. I think that was toward the end of January. If you haven't seen or downloaded that, it's worth checking out. It'll get you lots of nice machinery in order to get in and around those small areas of the farm, like the gardens and some of those animal husbandries. That's good to hear, Sniper. Good to hear. I wish I'd follow that same process, but it doesn't always work out that way. Oh, slowly. Slowly making our pig food. Do y'all use these specialty headers much? You know, you can harvest a lot quicker with them, but they are limited to just a single crop. We've got the Geringhoff sunflower header and the Geringhoff sorghum headers. I mean, this silo is kind of a complex one because, of course, you have your production and then you have multiple unload locations and multiple loading locations. So, for example, it's just speed. All right, for example, we can unload from here, or load our trailer from there. We also have this unload point. Or you can drive in the building here and unload. We already demonstrated you can load from here. Actually, this is probably your production. Yeah, this is your production load. Empty your production pig food. And then you've got your silo unload there. So, I mean, on a big farm, if you're doing this in multiplayer, you could dump 2 trailers at once. Pretty easy. Now, Raz does sugarcane, poplar, and carrots. Those are the only crops he runs. It is interesting though, what crops folks end up kind of leveling down on. You know, peas, green beans, spinach. I did them all when the game, when 25 came out. And then I just kind of forgot about it. Went back to what I know. Yeah, same with your root crops. Now, in fact, it takes forever and an eternity to harvest those crops. That doesn't help, I think, the overall usage of those. I mentioned during the farm show videos that I'd really like to see kind of more small machinery. Not like your 1 meter plows, but like a hobby farm where you could have like small plots of vegetables. Not a giant field of pumpkins, but like a small patch of pumpkins. And you would use your small hobby farm machinery to cultivate and plant and harvest, if you're even going to harvest pumpkins, as a interesting kind of secondary thing to your bigger fields and to your animal work. What's up, Rick? In, I think it's day 4 of the farm show videos, there was an interesting 1-row weeder that you sit on the weeder, and you basically have 2 handles, and you basically move the weeding aspect back and forth to stay between your plants. And it's really intended for those little vegetable patches. Cucumbers, pumpkins. Things like that. Cows really put out, huh? It would be nice to see crop rotation make its way back in. Maybe that's what seeds that follow. Crop rotation. They follow a schedule. But you never know. You never know with giants what these obscure hints may come to be. Yeah, I mean, the seasons when we had like failed germination or crop failure due to dry weather, yeah, that was fun. That had a nice little randomization to it. And there we go. We're done our field. We've harvested everything that we own. What do you want? You want to harvest sunflowers, parsnips? Nope, thanks. No, nope, not going to happen. Soybeans, parsnips, nope. Corn, green beans, nope. None of you people are paying me worth any money worth harvesting those things with. Do the 50 Shades of Hay cows. What other output do they have? Do they output anything other than milk? They're not like the cows in Hofbergman 19 then, or should I say the bulls? I'll have to wait till spring, I guess, to mow that grass again. Let's put this away. We're gonna need to get some silage also going on. Yeah, the season mod was more in depth. Right now, what we have base game is kind of watered down. It's more accessible. I mean, I think the next set pack is just like any other specialty machinery pack. It'll have its users and it'll have its not users. I think to some degree a lot of people don't fully understand and grasp its intent, and therefore kind of rag on it or think it's broken when really it's running the way it's fully intended. Certain content creators and partners really didn't help that out, that also didn't really fully understand or grasp the intentions or the goals of the Nexat. I don't use it much because I really don't play that big of a scale. Right? I don't need 14 meter wide equipment or anything to that degree. For maps like Riverbend, yeah, because really there's no large fields that would really facilitate it. There's other fields, I mean, like Hutampan Tai. There's fields on the flat down by the shop that could they could use the Nexat pack reasonably well. It's an interesting concept. It just doesn't fit my overall gameplay much. Yeah, that's the whole purpose of the Nexat, is to make its own tram lines, because it only works within the working area is within the tires. So the tires are never worked. So when you plant within the tires. You don't plant like a normal planter, including the tire path. So when you cultivate between the tires, you plant between the tires, you harvest between the tires, you fertilize between the tires. So therefore, you have your tram lines. You're only compacting the soil that you're not actually working. So the soil that is being productive, that you are getting your crop yield on, is never driven on, and therefore you're going to have your maximum theoretical yield, because you're only ever driving over a very small percent of the field. So the idea is, unlike a traditional field where you run with traditional farming machinery that might have varying working widths and varying tire widths, you may drive over 20% of the field. Therefore, you're compacting up to 20% of the field on any given pass. Whereas with the Nexat, you may only drive over 5% of the field, and that 5% is never used for actual growing of crops. So therefore, you are going to get a better yield because you're impacting your soil less. So let's buy that. What's this? What's this do? This cultivator. Buy that. What is this? This is a this is backwards. Yep, that's backwards. It's also a little awkward to drive, right? That's why they've got this auto alignment feature. Oh, I'm still backwards. Jeez. I had it right the first time. Oh, I know why it's not. But at any rate, what I was going to demonstrate is that all the modules connect between the tires. So when you cultivate, you're cultivating between the tires. You're seeding and planting between the tires. Your harvester, your header is wider technically than the tires. But all of your other field work is between the tires, which means the width of your tires is never planted, never cultivated, and therefore it's never part of the growth. And to some degree, that means that if you work the field with the next set, and then you work the field traditionally, in game, you would get less yield because in game, 5% of your field wasn't planted where the tram lines were. Now, I do believe that there was a bonus added to kind of the next set when harvesting in order to kind of compensate for that. Yeah, it's the overall idea that the next set is a platform that all of these brands can design around It's been so long since I've hooked up to any of this stuff. It must be back. But at any rate, you kind of get the point. It's unwieldy. Unless you've used it a lot, right? I don't think I've used it since the DLC came out, so I'm not really that practiced on hooking it up. Sean, are you talking about the map? Definitely. This map was a very, very well received map with respect to Farm Sim 22. And I would say that it's going to be very, very anticipated release for Farm Sim 25. So if you have never played it in 22, it's definitely worth looking at in 25. Lots of cool features, lots of things that you've not seen kind of on other maps have been implemented here. For example, you can pretty much buy anything and everything on the map, including you can buy some restaurants and some other businesses. And if you do buy those restaurants and other businesses by buying the land, you'll get some residual income per hour. There are other things that I'm just going to leave to the map tour. I don't want to spoil it. Sniper, I don't remember. You'd have to go back and watch my pre-release coverage of it. But it's also possible that it was modified after release. So it might be worth checking the change logs. Technically, it's 16x. The next size up from 4 would be 16. Let's check our cows out here. No, not a lot of milk yet. Not a lot of manure. Not a lot of slurry. I do, like I said, I do need I do need some grass. Nope. Alright, let's go check out this field. I'm a sucker for fields that are kind of buried back in the woods. There's also so many spots here on this map for machinery. I kind of forget where stuff is. I mean, sniper, it's just like the MacDon. Right? The MacDon gives you a yield bonus. I just never end up using it. What's up, Jeff? How's it going? Oh, it's going good. Going good. What's up, David? We are back. Yes. I actually drove back a day early because I was done. And it's probably a good thing I did because I drove back in nice sunny weather. And then I think the next day it was rain and mixed precip. Basically along my entire drive path. It rained here all day yesterday. Oh, the house was nice-ish. I discovered that there was a rather active train line right across the road, basically. So if you were a light sleeper, you'd get woken up in the middle of the night with the freight train coming rolling by. But honestly, I should have thought earlier in the week about not sleeping in the front bedroom. front bedroom had a queen-size bed. The back bedroom had bunk beds. But the back bedroom would have probably been quieter. Maybe, but when you don't live near one, and then suddenly you do for a week, you miss the quiet. As opposed to the 3 a.m. rumble. Not released today, but possibly releasing this week. So it basically cleared PC testing last week, all but a few, hey, do you mind if you change this type of a thing? And then it was going to go into console testing. The thing with console testing is they can't, map and mod authors really can't do much pre-testing of consoles, so they have to basically submit it kind of blind. There's potential it would come back with some texture errors because his greenhouse and orchards mod, which is now available for all platforms, it did kick back with some texture errors. It's now available on console, so kind of hoping and eagerly awaiting potential of release this week. I think within like 2 hours of getting there, Tuesday, like a train ran through, and I was in the kitchen probably unpacking stuff, and I'm like, what the heck is that? And I looked out the window and it's like, oh. There was like a through line and like 2 or 3 sightings. What's up, Bill's bub? You gotta set your alarm. But it's nice having a house because I can go to the grocery store, I got stuff to make breakfast. I got stuff to make for dinner on the nights I knew I wasn't going out and doing anything. It's always nice packing up clean clothes as opposed to having your suitcase full of, you know, dirties. You know, you get home and you just unpack a suitcase and put it back in your closet and drawers. Can't work this field. Oh. Duh, you gotta buy it first. There. Now you can work it. Alright, we need to make some silage bales. We're out of silage. I'm hoping fuel will go down in price, so I don't want to buy too much. Nope, never watch it. Don't have time. Oh, well, I mean, if you've not seen it, go back and watch Top Gear. That's his gimmick. Like I say, it's got a long history of outlandish things. So it's really just taking the formula from kind of being a car show to agriculture. Like how we've got things like this feeding rack set up here, the edge of the grass. Like this was at some point, you know, a meadow with cows or other animals in it. Potentially, there's like a chicken coop up here. Little details like that. Every house on the map has a garden. Theoretically, you could go into the garden, and if you had small enough machinery, like the mini agriculture pack from lsfarmingmods.com, then you could theoretically like work the garden in these places. Carried forward the ability to turn off collisions on these small utility poles if you want. The map defaults with the collisions on, but you can always turn them off. There's a mine. We can restore the mine. You can sell the construction materials or use those mined construction materials to build out some farmhouses. One house per town. The map has 3 towns on it. Are some rental properties you could place and get money per hour. Well, the way they've been implemented here, for example, this field, since there is a patch of grass around the poles, the AI will work around because there's no field here, so he'll work around it, even though the collision's turned off. Now, if you came through and you put a plow down here and created field, and then there was field, then the AI would just drive through. But as it is, since each pole has a little bit of grass, the AI is going to work around it because it's not part of the field. It didn't really spaz too much. We used the AI to harvest this field, or at least harvest some of it, and it just kind of worked around these, but it got the job done. Right, so I mean, the way the map's set up, it's set up a lot of, you know, you play however you want. There's 3 farms. We have the big industrial farm, which is your starting farm. There's a pig farm, and then there's a sheep and chicken farm. All the farms, you can sell any and all the buildings, and any and all the buildings can be replaced. So you can completely rearrange any of the farms and then put back the map specific buildings however you want. Personally, I think all the maps should be built that way. Play your way, not the way someone else wants you to play. Right? I mean, did you not have a chance to play this in 22? Lots of bale storage, lots of pallet storage on the map. Oh. I thought this was around it. Then while the small utility poles don't have collisions, the big power towers, they do. So it doesn't disable collisions on the big towers. comes the train. I think those train lights are new. But while we're waiting. Oh, there's a new Vermeer round baler at the show. 2026 model. You may not know that the Bale module on those is detachable, right? So this big Bale module back here, it can be detached from the main drive unit. I asked the guy, like, if there were plans to have different modules back here for different functionality, and he said no, pretty much it's going to be the round Bale module, but it's detachable. So in theory, like if you had one down for servicing, you could just hook up to another one and keep your baler off in production. What's up, Farmer G? We're on for a little bit. About 20 minutes, we'll be shutting her down for the night. Turn on the pickup. Automatic drop. Lynn Gary. It would be no surprise to say that I don't remember the name of that. No surprise at all. I'm sure I did. But with over, I think it's like 470 some maps in 22. You know, it's not like you're going to remember too much details about any one of them. We're well over 1,100 total since 22. We might be getting close to 1,200 at this point. I had a math professor in college. He was classic for saying something like, "I've forgotten more about mathematics than you'll ever know." This guy could also stand in front of a chalkboard, face the class, which meant his back is to the chalkboard, and using a piece of chalk while facing the class, draw a perfect circle on a chalkboard. Right? Total show off. Any rate, you know, his saying, "I forgot more about mathematics than you'll ever learn." I could probably say I've forgotten about more maps than most people will ever play. It's probably a pretty safe statement. And no, I don't have the fabulous Stop the Bale mod. I think we've got most of that here. Reasonably shaped fields. The fields can be merged if you want to combine fields. There's some areas around the main farm that you can definitely put more productions. There's other areas around the map, maybe not so much set aside for placeables, but you could put them here, there, and yonder. There's some construction projects. There's custom productions. Custom gameplay features. Like, for example, if you buy the lake or the pond up in the northwest, I think you get some residual fishing income. Or, of course, if you have Highlands fishing, you can go up there and fish. But overall, I think the AI works feels better in 25 than 22 because they try to work within the field boundary as opposed to turning outside the field boundary. checking the animations out there. You're not done yet? Almost. I mean, like here. This rather interestingly shaped grass field. It worked without any issues whatsoever. Oh, well, I mean, I guess. There's this. But you never know, if I left the AI to do the other end, he may have came down here and finished this up. You never know. Kind of interrupted his work. All of these houses along all the streets can be bought. So you can decide to make any of these your farmhouse. And all of them have gates that work. And all of them have gardens. Little gardens back here. That if you can get machinery through the gate, you could theoretically work. That's an interesting grass field, 66. Here beside this road. Down along the river. What's up, Chad? Yeah, the New Holland booth, that was interesting. Now, if you're like a toy collector, you may have been super interested in that that combo that they showed, right? The tractor and baler that was on display, but then also you can get the toy version of that tractor baler combo. here. Talking about placeable areas. Right, there's this whole spot over here that's open. That's great. Right, there you go. That's like life imitating game. Did you see the section about the driverless grain cart? The GPS automation system that facilitates a driverless grain cart. Showed a Fendt tractor running a auger wagon, pulling up to a harvester, allowing the harvester operator to unload. I didn't watch all the videos, so I didn't see if it like then met up with a semi waiting along the field. All those mowers are great for like high banks and things that would traditionally be too steep for a manned mower. Then they had the flail mower, like a remote controlled brush mower. You just need some way to monetize it. Like if you had a landscape business. Alright, I think what we'll do is we'll finish up this field. And then we'll call it for a night. I was not able to rebook the place. Didn't look like they have bookings that far out this year. There were some other places that would let me book right now, but nothing that really looked that intriguing. Oh, sure I will. We just need to... I just like need to put a calendar reminder like every week. Every week, go check. It's like last year I was able to book it right as the show ended. I could book a year ahead. This year, it doesn't look like they let you book more than like 6 months ahead. There's not a lot of choices at the moment. Because again, not a lot of places let you book up to a year ahead. Or do it without a penalty for canceling the reservation. Wait, where the heck am I at? Turned around here. There was an interesting place I saw. It was like a cabin in the woods. But I don't know how nice that would be in February. So probably not the best time of the year for a quaint little cabin in the woods. And with that, folks, I think we're going to call it for the night. And then you all for coming out and watching and hanging out with me for the last few hours here on Carpathian Countryside. Again, look for this map to probably release sometime this week or early next week. It's all but cleared PC testing the end of last week, and then only had to go into console testing this week. It wouldn't be that big of a surprise if there wasn't some sort of console testing texture issue. They do crop up from time to time and are fairly quickly resolved. Maps get retested very quickly once they come back from an issue. So again, he's kind of expecting the map to drop sometime this week. If you look on the channel, I will be releasing the map guide as soon as I see the map is out, because I've already recorded that and it's just sitting there waiting to be released. Until next time, happy farming.